Today, we're talking about faith and spirituality in action.
The final minisode of the week. Let's talk about what it looks like when you're practicing faith and spirituality.
Do you want what you want sooner rather than later? Do you find yourself growing more effectively in environments where people are growing alongside you? Well, we have the conference for you.
Do you love going to events as much as we do? Then you want to be in the room for the Further Faster conference happening October 29th and October 30th in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Now, the Further Faster conference is headlined by our dear friend, mentor, and business partner, Joseph McClendon III. And trust us, you're going to want to be in the room.
This is 2 days jam-packed of material that will help you grow personally and professionally. And if you're wondering how to make $1 million in 10 years, you have to be in the room to hear the strategy that Joseph is going to share. It is phenomenal.
Go to neuroencoding.com/FFC to learn more about the Further Faster conference coming at the end of October.
We hope to see you in Vegas. And now back to the show.
You're enjoying this episode on Angel Phoenix Productions Podcast Network. To explore a complete lineup of quality programs and media production services, head on over to angelphoenix.com or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Angel Phoenix Productions.
All right, let's pick up on some of these actions. Now, we talked earlier in the week about how oftentimes religious institutions serve the function of being able to provide a certain set of actions that help someone feel aligned spiritually. But those actions can look different for everyone, especially for many of us millennials who are going to that spirituality, religious faith buffet and finding all kinds of different actions that work for us.
I think what's important to note on a macro level is that just any kind of action and expression is helpful. If we think about the physical body takes in food, uses that as energy and fuel for all of your physical activity and motions, and then it gets rid of the rest. Now, if you take in more calories than you use, then your body will demonstrate that. So from a faith and spirituality perspective, you think about it, if you're consuming a lot of content, if you're thinking about those questions that we introduced in the big episode on Monday, if you're really doing a lot of exploration, but you're not expressing at all, you might feel a little bloated from all of this energy inside of you that's not getting to get expressed. And so having some kind of expression, a ritual, a habit, even if it's just meditation, something that you do that demonstrates that commitment to faith and spirituality and that connection will help you build it and help keep it flowing so it doesn't bloat inside of you.
Now, what I love that analogy, by the way,
Thank
and
you.
I really appreciate that. I'm gonna just let that be in my own personal spiritual self for a little while. But want to share a ritual that is fun that both Shyla and I like to engage in a little bit. And we teased it in the last episode. And now this may sound silly, but one action that you can do is to follow moon cycles. Now you might be like, oh God, they're going to talk about that astrology stuff. No, we are not. Actually going to come down to a little bit of the science behind how the moon magnetizes the water of our planet. Now, the tides we know are affected by the moon. A tide of the ocean will be stronger when the moon is full. When the moon is waning, the tides begin to recede and they come and they go along with the cycles of the moon. Now, we see lakes do the same exact thing. They expand and recede with those moon cycles. You, as a human being, are 70% water. So if you think that the magnetism of the moon has zero effect on you, then I would like to invite you to just maybe explore a little bit of moonology for yourself, because working with the magnetism of the moon can be a really incredible way for you to just take some action on a regular basis toward making you feel more spiritually connected.
I love that you do that. And for Christmas last year, I gave Kay a moon calendar, and that has been helping her tap into that expression of spirituality even more. And it's always, I love relying on you. You'll say, okay, it's time for new moon manifestations. And I just like to be privy to that. Now, some spirituality and faith in action is probably quite familiar to you. Maybe you've heard of a little thing called prayer. That would be one way that people express their spirituality and their faith. Prayer, for, in the New Age way, we're calling that meditation. But this time spent where we are exploring deeper questions, deeper meaning, and deeper significance, oftentimes in a dialogue, imagined or not, with a higher power. And so when we're able to do this, this is that habit, that ritual, that action, taking in processing and transforming what you're taking in so that you can have that expression to continue to invite more to come in. So we see this through prayer, meditation. We like things like rosary beads are all very symbolic of taking action to back up your faith.
Another faith action that you can take that can be really wonderful is the action of journaling. Now, even if it's journaling from maybe an emotional sense, right? You're utilizing your journal as a way to get your emotions out there. Maybe add some spiritual questions into your journaling. Maybe you're a journaler for the sake of accountability, or maybe you already use the tactic of journaling in your business or in another aspect of your life. Try it in the spiritual sense because it's an action that might surprise you. Sometimes you can, write down a question, and like Shyla said, whether it's God or imagined, answers come out that feel like they came from outside of you. And what we know about outside feedback is that it is 100% of the time helpful.
Now, the other really obvious expression of faith and spirituality is going to church, some kind of weekly service or monthly service, something that you do where you take your physical body somewhere and engage in a practice. So maybe it's a drum circle, maybe it's ecstatic dance, maybe it's a church service, or maybe
take me to church.
Maybe you're even just finding commune with nature on a weekly walk on Sundays. But whatever it is, however you find it, we hope that you put your spirituality and faith in action, especially after all of this week's teachings. And as always, we're coming at you with love from your sisters, Kay and Shy.
This podcast was a production of Angel Phoenix Productions. Explore more episodes of this show or other great shows on the Angel Phoenix Podcast Network by visiting angelphoenix.com. The views expressed in this show do not necessarily represent those of Angel Phoenix Productions or its advertisers and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.